yet, but it's like the results are coming.
Look at him.
The results.
You asked the question.
I just followed up.
No, I think our performances have been just fine. If you take into consideration all of the games we've played, they've been great. And to continue on in all competitions, not just survive but thrive. There can't be anything wrong with the performances. Of course, there are a few minutes here and there that you, and then in San Jose, yeah, you let your guard down for a few minutes. But over the course of a season, if you look back at those games, and those are perfectly natural and normal, happens to every team. Real Madrid, City, Arsenal, happens to every team, and that's just normal throughout the course of a season. But I've been very pleased with our level of play throughout all competitions.
Aaron and Danilo got a couple games recently, got combined, helped with the clean sheet. How have you seen their partnership?
Great. Danilo stepped in, and we haven't. Our way of playing, our way of defending has not changed. It doesn't look any different, doesn't feel any different, and that's Danilo's been fantastic. He stepped into that role, and Aaron is doing what Aaron does. He's a good passer of the ball. He wins his duels, and he's one of the leaders on the team. So they've gelled nicely. Whether it's Ryan is right back, Sergi or Cheeky, and vice versa. I think our back four has been very good.
The profile of Ilya. So first off, I want to just get your thoughts on what he does best for you.
Ilya is a strategic leader out in the field, and also our vocal leader as well. It kind of trickles into being an emotional leader as well, but I think his understanding of how we envision the games as coaches, and his ability to communicate that with the other players, so they understand and they can implement it, is amazing. And I think that he is really the catalyst of our back four and our front five. And it takes a very intelligent player. It takes a player who's well liked by the group. It takes a player who has also the quality to stay in this team, who's very successful. And we saw he obviously knows how to pass the ball too at the right times. And so he's really, for that position, for us, the perfect player.
I'm always impressed by his consistency. How he rarely puts a foot wrong, and he always seems to be in the right spot.
Yeah, that's his intelligence. His football IQ is up there, and there's other guys too. I mean, Carlos is obviously the same, and the decision making in moments where it matters to impact games is incredible, and they are game changers. And they just look and feel a little different, but they're both in their own rights game changers.
See, a little bit perhaps under the radar in that, and sometimes I don't think he's recognized for what he offers, not necessarily within the team, but just in the greater conversation.
Well, that's up to you and your colleagues. To me, no. I value every player for their own specific attributes they have and add to the group. Without Ilya, there's no Sifo, and there's no Carlos, and there's no Denis. And without Aaron and Daniil and Cheeky and Ryan, there's no Ilya. And so they all complement each other well, and I think that's the secret to make sure they do complement each other.
Oh, well, I suppose one of the ways I think they might be undervalued is when I looked at last year's MVP nominees, as much as I thought Arango had a great season, I thought Ilya would have been a very worthy MVP finalist, and I don't think he was even considered among most of the people who were making those choices.
Yeah, you're right, but again, that's not for me to decide. I think if you look at our MLS team of the week every week, if you score a goal, you're in. If you don't, you're not, regardless of your position. So I think that's one example of kind of the truth of our media world right now, is how we view this game. Anything that is near the goal is good, and anything that's not is just part of the group. So I think we need to get there as a country, to value also players who are incredible at their own positions, that are just as important as the ones who finish plays.
Yeah. Last thing on Ilya, and we've had this conversation last year, is that just as a person, I mean, we were saying Ilya might be the finest human being we've ever met.
Yeah, it's a policy of ours, no assholes here at LAFC. And he's obviously the opposite. Ilya is amazing. has an ear for everybody. He'll help other people. Also the younger guys too. He was upset he didn't get to go to Monterey the other week to help out. But yeah, he's great. And we had heard things about him in Kansas City, and I actually got a letter from a fan of his in Kansas City saying, "We've just signed the most amazing human being," and that person was right.
I mean, he's egoless. I've covered pro sports for 40 something years. He's the first egoless athlete I think I've ever covered.
I just think he has it under control. I think every athlete has to have an ego, and Ilya does too. He just has it under control, and his energy and his efforts are focused for the team and for LAFC. And so there's an ego there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to compete week in and week out with the best we have. But it's just channeled in the right direction.
Thanks.
Timothy, with the one-time switch, how do you see him with the national team? Obviously, a great opportunity for him, perhaps seeing this summer.
Yeah, I think I broke the news to Ilya when I'm sorry to Timmy when he was invited into the previous camp. I think it was the Mexico game. He was ecstatic, surprised, and also a little nervous and maybe apprehensive, but seeing him evolve with us and seeing him adapt to life here now has been great. It's been very positive, and he's got a smile on his face, and so it was a really easy decision for him to say yes. And he's not only said yes, but he's very excited about playing for the United States. So far, all of his experiences in the U.S. with football have been positive, so we'd like to keep it that way with the U.S. too.
Jumping off of that, Ilya also is now eligible for the U.S. What would he add to the national team? Is he somebody that they should at least be considering?
Absolutely not. The U.S. team should not call out any LAFC players. Yeah, of course. It's his performances speak for themselves. I mean, even a guy like Ilya and Ryan are also a little older, but like Ryan is also somebody where I'm just not understanding why he's never got a call up. But that's not my cup of tea. So.
I will just go to one more question on Zoom. Daniel, go ahead, Daniel.
Hey, Steve, I would like to ask you, I mean, it's important to win 3 points tomorrow, but is that more important to you and the team, not just to win, just make a statement and help you to manage what is coming next in the next 2 weeks?
Can you repeat the second part of your question? There was a plane that just flew over.
Yeah. I mean, if we give you more importance tomorrow's game against KC, the fact that if you guys win, you're gonna be on the top of the standings, and will give you more leverage to manage the team for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think the mentality we've been using and taking, of course, we plan ahead and we look at our schedule as coaches, as our performance and medical team do a great job of preparing players short and long term. But we are only focused on Kansas City right now. And on Thursday or Friday, if you ask me another question, I will answer the same way. Our only focus will be on San Jose. And if you ask me on Monday, I would say the only game that matters is the cup game against the Galaxy, and so forth. So we are always looking only one game ahead, and that's the truth. And as a player, I think that's how I appreciated how things were treated. And that's how we try to do it here as a staff. So we're not trying to think too far ahead. There are 3 points to be had tomorrow in our league play, which we would love to have in our account after the game.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.